My sister begged me to be her maid of honor. I'm Maya Torres, 29, living in Chicago. She video called me crying about her dream wedding, how she needed me there, how it wouldn't be the same without her big sister. I said yes immediately, already picturing the champagne toasts and the sisterly moments. 3 months later, I stood in her kitchen, staring at a vendor invoice with my name listed as primary contact and financial guarantor. My mom smiled from across the counter. "You're planning it anyway, honey. Might as well make it official." That's when I knew I wasn't the maid of honor. I was the ATM. And that realization led me to do something at her rehearsal dinner that ended her wedding before it even started. Before we go on, tell me where you're watching from. Your car on lunch break? Your kitchen after a long shift? A quiet hotel room? Echoes of life is right here with you. 4 months before that kitchen moment, the groundwork was already being laid. My sister Kelsey called from our hometown in Ohio. She was 26, newly engaged to Brandon, a guy she'd been dating for 8 months. "Maya, I need you," she said, voice wobbling. "I want you as my maid of honor. Please say yes." I was in my apartment folding laundry. I work as a senior graphic designer at a marketing firm. I make decent money, around $78,000 a year, but in Chicago that means a studio apartment in a so-so neighborhood and cooking at home most nights. Still, I'd saved a little. I thought I could afford a bridesmaid dress and maybe help with the bachelorette party. "Of course," I told her. "I'd be honored," she squealed. In the background, I heard my mom clapping. That should have been my first warning. My mom, Patricia, had always made everything about appearances. Growing up, Kelsey was the golden child. Blonde, bubbly, the kind of girl everyone wanted to be friends with. I was the quiet one, the one who left town for college and never moved back. The one who chose career over settling down. Mom never said I disappointed her, but I felt it in every phone call that started with Kelsey's doing so well and ended with, "When are you coming home?" 2 weeks after I said yes, Kelsey sent me a Pinterest board. 73 pins. Floral arches, custom invitations, dessert bars that looked like art installations. "Just ideas," she texted. "Dream big, right?" I scrolled through, calculating costs in my head. Then came the next text. "Mom said you'd help plan since you're so creative. You work in marketing. This will be easy for you." I stared at my phone. Help plan was different from paying for. I assumed she meant DIY projects, design work, logistics. Things I could actually contribute. I texted back, "Happy to help with design stuff. When's your budget meeting with Mom and Brandon?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "We're keeping it simple. Mom's handling most of it. Just need your expertise." Simple. That word should have been my second warning. Nothing about that Pinterest board was simple. But I wanted to be supportive. I wanted to be the sister who showed up. So I pushed down the unease and started sketching invitation concepts. A month later, I flew home for the weekend to meet with vendors. Kelsey picked me up at the airport, talking nonstop about centerpieces and first dance songs. We went straight to a meeting with a florist. The woman showed us arrangements that cost $4,000. Kelsey gasped and said, "Perfect." I said, "That's a lot. What's your flower budget?" Kelsey looked at Mom, who'd met us there. Mom smiled. "We'll make it work, won't we, Maya? You said you wanted to help." That tight feeling started in my chest. Help with planning, yes. I didn't realize you meant financially. "Oh, honey, we're all pitching in as a family," Mom said smoothly. "You make good money in Chicago. This is Kelsey's one special day." The florist looked uncomfortable. I felt my face get hot. I didn't want to cause a scene, so I said, "Can we talk about this privately?" But Kelsey's eyes were already filling with tears. "You don't want to help me?" she whispered. And there it was. The trap. Say no and I'm the selfish sister who ruins everything. Say yes and I'm locked in. I looked at my mom's expectant face, at Kelsey's trembling lip, at the florist pretending to check her phone. "We'll figure it out," I said quietly. Over the next 6 weeks, that phrase became my prison. We'll figure it out when the venue required a $6,000 deposit. We'll figure it out when the photographer needed $3,500 up front. We'll figure it out when Kelsey wanted a videographer for another $2,800. Each time, I'd try to suggest alternatives. Each time, Mom would say something like, "It's her wedding, Maya. Don't you want it to be perfect?" And Kelsey would add, "I thought you'd be excited to help me." I started tracking everything in a spreadsheet, not because I planned to use it, just because I needed to see the damage in real numbers. Venue deposit, $6,000. Photographer, $3,000. $500. Videographer, $2,800. Florist, $4,000. Catering deposit, $8,500. I paid it all on my credit card because they said they'd pay me back. Family doesn't charge interest, Mom reminded me. This is love. My Chicago apartment started to feel smaller. I stopped going out with friends. I ate rice and beans 4 nights a week. I canceled my gym membership. I walked to work in the rain instead of taking the train. And every time I sent another payment, Kelsey posted another excited Instagram story about her dream wedding coming together. Then came the bridal shower. Mom hosted it at a country club I didn't know our family could afford. 50 guests, catered lunch, champagne fountain, custom cake. Halfway through, my aunt cornered me at the gift table. "This is so generous of you," she said, squeezing my hand. "Paying for all of this. Patricia told us how you insisted on covering everything because you make so much money in the city." My stomach dropped. "I'm sorry, what?" "The wedding," my aunt said. "Your mom said you're funding it. Such a good big sister." I found my mom in the kitchen. "Can we talk?" She followed me outside to the patio. "Did you tell people I'm paying for the wedding?" "Well, you are helping significantly," she said. "Helping and paying for everything are different things," I said. My voice shook. "You told Aunt Marie I insisted on covering it." Mom's face hardened. "Don't make this ugly, Maya. This is Kelsey's day. You're doing a wonderful thing. Why does it matter who knows?" "Because it's not true," I said. "You've been saying I'll get paid back. Now you're telling people I'm gifting it? Which is it?" "Family doesn't keep score," Mom said coldly. Then she walked back inside. I stood on that patio for 10 minutes, shaking. When I went back in, Kelsey was opening gifts, laughing with her bridesmaids. Nobody looked at me. I was the ATM in the corner, not a sister. That night, I couldn't sleep. I pulled out my laptop and looked at my spreadsheet. The total was $31,200. $31,200. In 4 months. My credit card had a balance I'd never had before. My savings account was drained. I made $78,000 a year, but after taxes and Chicago rent, I brought home about $4,100 a month. I just spent 8 months of my take-home pay on a wedding I wasn't even invited to have opinions about. I opened my email, started drafting a message to Kelsey, deleted it, started again, deleted it. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. Instead, I did something else. I forwarded every receipt, every invoice, every payment confirmation to a new folder. I titled it Kelsey Wedding, Loans. Then I drafted a simple contract. It listed every expense, every date, every amount. At the bottom, it said, "Borrowed funds to be repaid within 24 months. No interest." Signed by Kelsey Chen and Patricia Torres. I didn't send it. Not yet. But having it ready made me feel less powerless. 2 weeks before the wedding, I flew home again for final preparations. That's when I walked into Kelsey's kitchen and saw the invoice. The venue had emailed their final bill. It was addressed to me, not as a contact. As the financial guarantor. My name was listed as responsible for all charges, including the remaining balance of $14,800. I looked up at my mom. "What is this?" "Oh, the venue needed a primary contact," she said, not meeting my eyes. "I gave them your information since you're handling the money side." "I never agreed to be financially responsible," I said. Kelsey walked in, carrying shopping bags. "What's wrong?" I showed her the invoice. "Did you know about this?" She barely glanced at it. "Mom took care of the paperwork." "Why? Is there a problem?" "Yes," I said. "I'm listed as responsible for almost $15,000 I didn't agree to." "God, Maya, you're being dramatic," Kelsey said. "We'll pay you back. We've said that a million times." "When?" I asked. "When will you pay me back? Give me a date." Kelsey looked at Mom. Mom looked at Kelsey. Then Mom said, "We're not doing this right now. The wedding is in 2 weeks. "Exactly," I said. "So let's be clear. Am I loaning you money or am I gifting it?" "Family doesn't," Mom started. "Don't say family doesn't keep score," I interrupted. "You've been telling everyone I'm bankrolling this wedding out of the goodness of my heart. Meanwhile, you've been promising me I'll be paid back. Which is it?" Kelsey's face crumpled. "I can't believe you're making my wedding about money." "I'm not making it about money," I said. "You did that when you put $31,000 on my credit card." The number hung in the air. Kelsey's mouth opened. 31,000? Plus the $14,800 I'm apparently now responsible for, I said. "So actually, $46,000 total." Mom waved her hand dismissively. "It's not that much when you break it down. And you agreed to help. Something in me went very still. Help isn't the same as fund. And you know it. I left before I said something I couldn't take back. In my rental car, I opened my laptop. I had copies of everything. Every text where they promised to pay me back. Every invoice I'd paid. Every conversation where help magically became pay for. I also had screenshots of Mom's Facebook posts. One from 2 months ago where she commented on someone's wedding photo. My daughter is making Kelsey's dream wedding possible. So blessed to have such a generous family. Another from 3 weeks ago. Some daughters really know how to show love. Maya's taking care of everything for her baby sister. She'd been building a narrative. The generous city daughter who was too successful to miss the money. The perfect family pulling together. Meanwhile, I'd been eating canned soup and walking in the rain to afford her lies. If this were your family, what would you do? Comment 1 if you'd confront them privately and demand repayment. Comment 2 if you'd let it go to keep the peace. I didn't do either. Instead, I called the venue. Hi, this is Maya Torres. I'm listed as the financial guarantor for the Chen Bradford wedding. I need to discuss the contract. The event coordinator pulled it up. Yes, Miss Torres. How can I help? I didn't sign anything authorizing me as guarantor, I said. Can you send me whatever documentation you have? There was a pause. I'm looking at it now. The contract was signed digitally by Patricia Torres. She listed you as an authorized family member, with financial responsibility. My hands tightened on the phone. Without my consent? I'm not sure of the details, ma'am. The contract is valid as submitted. What happens if I dispute it? Another pause. The event would need to be cancelled or recontracted with a different guarantor, and the deposits already paid would be forfeit unless the contract holder requests a refund within the cancellation window, which is 7 days before the event. The wedding was in 13 days. I thanked her and hung up. Then I sat in that rental car in the parking lot of a Target and did something I'd never done before. I got angry. Not sad angry or tired angry. Clear, cold, decision-making angry. I called a lawyer. Not for a lawsuit, just for a consultation. I explained the situation. She listened and said, "You have a few options. You can dispute the guarantor status, but it'll likely go to small claims since you did make the payments. You can demand a written repayment agreement before the wedding, or you can remove yourself from financial responsibility and force them to find another guarantor." Can I do that this close to the wedding? I asked. You can do it any time, she said. But they'll have 7 days to find an alternative, or the venue will cancel. I thanked her. Hung up. Opened my email. And I did something I'd been too afraid to do before. I sent my mom and Kelsey a message. Subject line, wedding financial agreement, required by Friday. In the email, I attached my contract, the one I'd drafted weeks ago. I wrote, attached is an itemized list of all wedding expenses I have covered, totaling $31,200. Before I authorize the final venue payment of $14,800, I need both of you to sign this agreement, confirming these are loans, not gifts, to be repaid within 24 months. Please sign and return by Friday at 5 p.m. If I don't receive the signed agreement, I will notify the venue that I am disputing my guarantor status. Maya. I hit send before I could second-guess it. 11 minutes later, my phone exploded. Kelsey called 4 times. Mom called twice. I didn't answer. Instead, I texted, "Everything I need to say is in the email. Sign the agreement or find a new guarantor." That night, I got a text from my dad. He'd been mostly silent through all of this, retired and checked out. "Your mother is very upset. Can you please call her?" I wrote back, "I've spent $31,000 on Kelsey's wedding. I need a signed agreement that it will be repaid. That's reasonable." He didn't respond. The next morning, Kelsey showed up at my hotel. I opened the door, and she burst in, mascara already running. "How could you do this to me?" she cried. 2 weeks before my wedding? I asked for a signature, not a kidney, I said. "You're trying to ruin everything." "I'm trying to protect myself," I said. "You've spent $31,000 of my money. I want confirmation. I'll get it back." "We told you we'd pay you back." "Then sign the paper." She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "You're actually serious?" "Completely. What if we can't pay you back in 2 years? Then we'll extend the timeline. But I need it in writing." "This is insane," she whispered. "You're my sister." "Exactly," I said. "I'm your sister, not your bank." She left without signing. That afternoon, Mom called. I answered. "You're being incredibly selfish," she said. "No hello. This is Kelsey's wedding. How dare you hold it hostage?" I'm not holding anything hostage, I said. I'm asking for a written agreement for money I've already lent. That's normal. It's family, Mom snapped. Then treat me like family instead of an ATM. She hung up on me. An hour later, I got a text from Kelsey's maid of honor, a girl I barely knew. Maya, everyone is really upset. Can you please just drop this? It's causing so much stress. I didn't respond. That evening, my aunt called, the same one who'd congratulated me at the bridal shower. Honey, I heard there's some trouble. Can I help mediate? Did Mom tell you what the trouble is? I asked. She said you're asking Kelsey to sign some kind of contract. A repayment agreement for $31,000 in wedding expenses I covered. Silence. Then, $31,000? Yes. Oh my God, Maya. I had no idea it was that much. Mom told everyone I was gifting it, I said. I wasn't. I was helping with the expectation of repayment. Have you asked them to pay you back before now? Multiple times. They kept saying later, after the wedding. Don't worry about it. More silence. Then my aunt said quietly, I think you're being reasonable. I almost cried. Thank you. Do you want me to talk to Patricia? Only if you want to, I said. But I'm not backing down. They sign by Friday or I pull out. Friday came. No signature. At 5:01 p.m., I called the venue. Hi, this is Maya Torres. I need to dispute my status as financial guarantor for the Chen Bradford wedding. The coordinator sounded stressed. Miss Torres, the event is in 8 days. I understand. I did not consent to being listed as guarantor. I'm formally withdrawing. This will likely result in cancellation unless another guarantor is provided. I understand. There was typing. Then, I'll need this in writing. Can you email a formal dispute? I'll send it within the hour. I hung up and drafted the email. My hands shook the entire time. I wasn't backing down. I wasn't the bad guy. I was protecting myself. I hit send at 5:47 p.m. At 6:23 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Maya Torres? This is Jennifer from Riverside Venue. I just received your dispute. I've contacted Patricia Torres. She's very upset. I imagine so. She's asking if there's any way to resolve this. There is, I said. She and Kelsey sign a repayment agreement for the funds I've advanced. I'll send it to you to forward to her. Okay, Jennifer said carefully. I'll let her know. At 7:02 p.m., my mom called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. You've done it now, Maya. The venue is threatening to cancel. I hope you're happy. You've ruined your sister's life over money. I will never forgive you for this. I saved the voicemail, added it to my evidence folder. At 8:34 p.m., Kelsey texted, Fine. I'll sign your stupid contract. Send it. I forwarded the agreement. At 9:12 p.m., I received a scanned copy with 2 signatures. Kelsey's handwriting was angry, all capital letters. Mom's was barely legible. I forwarded it to the lawyer I'd consulted. Is this legally binding? She responded in 10 minutes. Yes. Signed and dated. Keep the original. I emailed the venue. Dispute withdrawn. Guarantor status confirmed. Then I sat on my hotel bed and cried. Not because I felt bad. Because I'd finally stood up for myself. The week before the wedding was silent. No calls. No texts. I assumed I was uninvited. Then, 3 days before, Kelsey texted, Rehearsal dinner is Friday at 6. You're still maid of honor? That was it. No apology, no acknowledgement. Just the time and place. I almost didn't go. But I'd come this far. I wanted to see this through. So, Friday evening, I put on a dress and drove to the restaurant. The rehearsal dinner was at an Italian place Mom had chosen. 40 guests, candlelit tables, a private room with a slideshow of Kelsey and Brandon's relationship. I walked in and everyone went quiet. Kelsey was at the front table with Brandon. Mom was beside her. They stared at me like I was a ghost. I took my seat at the bridal party table. Kelsey's maid of honor leaned over. Wow, you actually came. I'm still the maid of honor, I said. Yeah, but after everything. I didn't respond. The dinner started. Speeches began. Brandon's best man told a funny story. One of the bridesmaids shared a tearful memory. Then Mom stood up. She clinked her glass. The room went silent. I want to thank everyone for being here, she began. This week has been emotional. Planning a wedding is stressful, but I'm so grateful for family who shows up, who supports Kelsey, who puts love first. She paused, looked directly at me. And I'm grateful for my daughter Maya, who has been so generous, so giving. She's made sacrifices to make this day perfect. The room applauded. People smiled at me. I felt my face get hot. She was doing it again. Rewriting the narrative. Generous. Giving. Sacrifices. Not loans. Not exploitation. Sacrifice. I stood up. My chair scraped loud against the floor. The room went quiet again. Can I say something? Mom's smile froze. Of course, honey. I walked to the front. Pulled out my phone. Thank you, Mom. You're right. I have been generous. I opened my Photos app. Found the screenshot I'd prepared. In fact, I've been so generous that I think everyone should know exactly how generous. I connected my phone to the projector that had been showing the slideshow. My spreadsheet appeared on the screen. 10 feet tall. Every line item, every date, every dollar. Venue deposit, $6,000. Photographer, $3,500. Videographer, $2,800. Florist, $4,000. Catering, $8,500. Invitations, $1,200. Dress alterations, $800. Hair and makeup trials, $600. Bridal shower, $2,400. Bachelorette party, $1,900. DJ, $2,000. Cake, $1,100. Linens, $400. Programs, $200. Guest favors, $300. Transportation, $500. The room was silent. People were reading. I saw my aunt's hand fly to her mouth. I saw Kelsey's face go white. The total, I said, is $31,200. This doesn't include the final venue payment of $14,800, which I'm covering tomorrow. So actually, $46,000. Mom stood up. Maya, this is not the time. When is the time? I asked. You've been telling everyone I'm doing this out of love, out of generosity. You've been calling it sacrifice. I looked at the room. What you haven't been telling people is that every single one of these expenses is a loan, not a gift, a loan. With a signed repayment agreement. I switched slides. The contract appeared, both signatures visible. Kelsey and my mom signed this last week, I said. It confirms that all of this will be paid back within 24 months. Because contrary to what my mom has been saying, I didn't insist on paying for this wedding. I was guilt-tripped into it. I was told it was family. I was told I'd be repaid. And when I asked for that in writing, I was called selfish. Kelsey was crying. Brandon looked horrified. Mom's face was purple. My dad, in the back, was staring at his plate. I'm not trying to ruin this dinner, I said. I'm trying to set the record straight. Family doesn't mean free labor. Family doesn't mean unlimited funding. Family doesn't mean lying to everyone about who's actually paying for what. I disconnected my phone. The slideshow resumed. A photo of Kelsey and Brandon at the beach. I love my sister. I want her to be happy. But I'm done being treated like an ATM. Enjoy your dinner. I walked out. Behind me, the room erupted. Voices overlapping. I heard Mom yelling my name. I kept walking, got in my car, drove back to my hotel. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the steering wheel. I didn't sleep that night. I kept expecting my phone to explode. It didn't. A few texts trickled in. My aunt. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. A cousin. That took guts. Kelsey's maid of honor. Wow. Nothing from Mom or Kelsey. At 3 a.m., I got an email from my dad. You embarrassed your mother and sister in front of everyone. I understand you're upset about the money, but that was cruel. Please don't come to the wedding tomorrow. I read it 3 times. Then I wrote back, I'll respect that, but for the record, I wasn't cruel. I was honest. There's a difference. I didn't go to the wedding. I checked out of the hotel early Saturday morning and drove to the airport. I changed my flight to leave that afternoon instead of Sunday. As I sat at the gate, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Jennifer from Riverside Venue. Just wanted to let you know the final payment of $14,800 cleared this morning. The event is confirmed. Thank you. I stared at the message. They were still using my money. Even after everything. Even after banning me from the wedding. My credit card paid for a day I wasn't invited to. I almost lost it. Almost called the venue and canceled everything. But I didn't. Because I'd signed the agreement too. And I keep my word, even when others don't. The wedding happened without me. I saw photos on Facebook. Kelsey looked beautiful. The venue was stunning. The flowers were perfect. Everything I'd paid for. Displayed for everyone except me. 3 days later, I got a text from Kelsey. The wedding was perfect. Thanks for the money. Thanks for the money. Not, thank you for everything. Not, I'm sorry. Thanks for the money. I didn't respond. 2 weeks after that, I got a check in the mail. $500. A post-it note attached. First payment. And 7 twiddle Decatur. I deposited it. Noted it in my spreadsheet. $500 down. $45,000. $500 to go. Over the next year, I got payments sporadically. Sometimes $300. Sometimes $150. Never on a schedule. Always with an excuse about why it wasn't more. Brandon's car broke down. They needed a new couch. Kelsey got sick and had medical bills. By month 12, they'd paid back $3,400. At that rate, it would take 13 years to repay everything, not 2. I sent a reminder email. Per our agreement, full repayment is due within 24 months. We're at the halfway point. You've repaid 7% of the total. Kelsey called me for the first time in a year. You're really going to hold us to that? Yes. We don't have the money, Maya. We're trying. Then get a payment plan. Consolidate it into a personal loan. Sell things. I don't care how. But the agreement was 24 months. You're being unreasonable. I'm being exactly as reasonable as the contract you signed. She hung up. The payments stopped completely. Month 13, month 14, nothing. At month 18, I sent a formal demand letter through the lawyer. This is your final notice before I pursue legal action. Mom called. First time I'd heard her voice since the rehearsal dinner. You're really going to sue your sister? I'm really going to enforce a contract she signed. This is pathetic, Maya. It's money. Let it go. You're right. It is money. $46,000. I'd like it back. We don't have it. Then you shouldn't have spent it. She hung up. 2 weeks later, I got a Facebook message from Kelsey. Fine. You win. We'll declare bankruptcy. You can get in line with all the other creditors. Hope you're happy. I wasn't happy. I was exhausted. But I also wasn't backing down. I filed in small claims court. The maximum I could claim was $10,000, so I filed for that. The rest would have to be a separate case or a payment plan. The court date was set for 4 months out. In the meantime, I got messages from family members. Some supportive. Most critical. How can you sue your own sister? It's just money. Family is more important than this. I stopped responding. Stopped checking Facebook. Stopped caring what they thought. The day before the court date, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered. Maya? It's Brandon, Kelsey's husband. I'd barely spoken to him. Hi. I wanted to talk to you before tomorrow, he said. I didn't know about any of it. Kelsey told me your family was helping with the wedding. I didn't know it was all you. I didn't know about the amount. I didn't say anything. I'm not making excuses, he continued. But I found out last month that Kelsey's been spending money we don't have. We're $22,000 in credit card debt. She's been lying to me about it. I'm trying to figure out what's real and what's not. When I saw the court summons, I confronted her. She told me everything. Okay, I said carefully. I want to pay you back, he said. I don't know how yet, but I will. I'll get a second job. I'll figure it out. You shouldn't have been lied to. And you deserve your money back. I felt something crack in my chest. Thank you for saying that. Will you drop the case if I commit to a payment plan? A real one. In writing. I thought about it. Send me a proposal. If it's reasonable, yes. He did. $1,000 a month for 46 months. Starting immediately. I consulted the lawyer. She said it was enforceable. I agreed. We signed a new contract. I dropped the court case. Brandon kept his word. Every month, $1,000 appeared in my account. He sent a screenshot of each payment. No excuses, no delays. Kelsey never apologized. Neither did my mom. But I stopped waiting for it. I stopped needing it. The money coming back was enough. By month 24, I'd received $24,000. Halfway there, I could see the finish line. And more importantly, I could sleep at night. Here's what I learned. Generosity without boundaries isn't love. It's self-destruction. Standing up for yourself might cost you relationships, but staying silent costs you yourself. I didn't choose money over family. I chose self-respect over manipulation. And I'd make that choice again. If this story resonated, please like, share, and subscribe. Stay with Echoes of Life for more stories of quiet strength.